Germany's been carrying the the economic engine of all of Europe, and then you have the pigs nations down south that can't contribute, and so you can start to see a lot of reasons why they may not like that. Would you say, just so we're kind of clear on terms for everybody listening, when we talk about nationalistic, would you also consider that populist? And if so, how do you define those?
Yeah, so populist is whatever is popular at the time. Okay. So populist movements can often be liberal or conservative. They're just whatever's popular at the time. Look at Latin America. Latin America is right now going through a pink wave. They're becoming more socialist. Yeah. Whereas what you're seeing in Europe is the opposite. They're becoming more independent, right? So but they're both populist movements because they're popular and they're gaining in momentum. Okay. Whereas nationalist very much means of the nation. You put the nation first. The best way to think of that is we pledge allegiance to a flag, the flag of our country, always, right? There are some countries in the world that have their national flag and their union flag flying side by side. We in the United States, we don't do that, right? Mm-hmm. So when you put your country first, that's nationalist. Then there's, of course, socialist or liberal movements, and those are when you put society first or the common good first. Mm-hmm. And Europe for a long time has been going down that road, and the United States has been trying to mimic Europe in a lot of their policies and going down this socialist road. A big part of what changed, I would argue that even more than 2016, what really changed the world's attitude towards nationalism was the response to COVID-19. When COVID first hit, you saw a lot of countries not know how to respond. And then you saw the United States take some fairly decisive action, and then countries that seconded the United States then just replicated the US response. When they replicated the US response to COVID, they then replicated all the same economic problems that the United States caused with their response to COVID. So then you started seeing inflation worldwide. Then you started seeing globalization become challenging worldwide. You saw supply chain challenges worldwide. You saw commerce come to a halt. You saw bureaucracy and stimulus all get out of control. That made people wonder, is it really right to just do what everybody says you should do for society? Especially as more and more science came out about COVID, we started to understand more and more what it was. We started to understand the mistakes in the policies that we put in place in responding to COVID. And even still to this day, people don't acknowledge that they made bad decisions about their policies about COVID. Mm-hmm. Instead, they just moved on to the next distraction, which a very convenient distraction was Russia invading Ukraine. All of a sudden, COVID wasn't a headline anymore. Yeah. Right? That was really what shifted a lot of these things, because people started seeing maybe following the United States and just doing what the United States does isn't in our best interest. And maybe being part of the larger collective isn't in our best interest, because we're hurting our own people in our own country and our own national economy in order to fit into this larger conglomerate that doesn't actually help us.
Right.
That's
hurts us in many cases.
That's what Europe, I think, is waking up to. And unfortunately, the United States has always been very good about not making itself dependent on anybody else. Mm-hmm. Now we're seeing that we're losing our ability to manipulate the rest of the world, because the world is now waking up to the fact that they have been manipulated, they've been shaped under this American ideology for such a long time that now in the tech revolution and the information era that we're in, people are discovering their own independent ideas again. And as much as we espouse independence as a country, we really only mean we want freedom and independence for Americans. The United States has no interest in freedom or independence for other countries. We really only promise and protect it.
We've been exporting democracy for years. What are you talking about?
Exactly. We've exported the dependency on the United States.
Freedom! So fresh, so new. Freedom!